Start talking about this Fat Joe hip hop thing.
Yeah, wherever we want to go, we having fun
Yeah.
today.
We
We
have a
said we said we were gonna have fun and just like spit these bars to quote Dragon.
God did. Um.
Spit these bars? Yes, he did.
Okay. Well, the internet's in an uproar because Fat Joe went out there and proclaimed that hip hop was created. Keyword created 50-50 by Latinos and blacks, half and half.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, and I've seen many articles going out there and um, I guess I don't want to say taking Joe's side, but I guess kind of justifying the statement. This is what I'm going to say. I think Joe, respectfully, and again, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm 63 years old from the Bronx, even though I've talked to some people who are today, just in preparation for the show. Um, I think he misspoke because I think 50-50 in the creation process
Hmm.
would imply that for every Disco King Mario name I gave you, you could give me somebody equal in the Latino community as far as on the creative level to that.
So, were you finished? I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
I
I
know
was
what you.
finished. Go ahead.
I think that he misspoke, and what I hope he was trying to say, and this is what I hope he was trying to say. And it's funny. Our senior writer Denham will probably speak to this because her and her family are from the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
The Bronx is a big, big melting pot. I don't want to tell too much of Denham's family history because she's going to be on with us in one of these soon upcoming shows, but her family is from one of the Virgin Islands, okay? Literally, generationally speaking, like not even born here.
Mm-hmm.
So her generation is first generation transplants into the Bronx via the Virgin Islands by way of their parents. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
The Bronx is full of that. New York is full of that. And what I think he is trying to express is that when I talk about hip hop being created as the expression of the inner city angst, well, the Caribbean and Latino and Jamaican and Barbadian, yeah, Bohemian, yeah. Well, everybody's there in New York and in the Bronx. Like it's a melting pot area. So if he's speaking to the sphere of influence and what's going on with the melting pot, helping create some of that tension and that angst, and also inspiring and influencing in that manner, in the environmental sense, then yes, you get what I'm saying? Because the Bronx is chopped up like that. Everybody from half Panamanian, half Trini. Mike, I've been researching my family. It looks like we're from the Barbados by way of West Africa. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you shouldn't need to bust around clip Jamaica. Matt and Chris, they family from Jamaica. They can speak like damn near like with that Jamaican tone, like they can flip a switch and it's like they sound like they in their transplants 2 generations removed. And so there's a lot of that going on. My hope is that he was trying to express that, because if he's trying to say that it was created 50-50, no, but the sphere of influence because of the melting pot that the Bronx and New York City is what I hope he was trying to express. I hope he was trying to express the depth of the melting pot, specifically the Bronx where hip hop was born.
Right. And I see in the chat a lot of people are saying Latinos are blacks and this and that. Let me be more specific. I think we're talking about black Americans, right? Black
Right.
Americans, people who come out of, the lineage of slavery in America,
But
right?
that's what I mean. Okay,
So,
so this is what I mean. To be a black American, okay? I want people to understand this. Like, to be a black American is not something old. It's something very, very new to actually be a black American. Like, to be here
what do you
in this
mean?
country. Like, this is what I mean. Like, very few of us are really, really from here unless we are indigenously tied to some of the Indian tribes here, you know?
That's
And so,
possibility too on a
no,
lot
that's
of
a
levels,
possibility.
yeah.
My father's 100% Blackfoot Indian. My grandfather's 1/3 Cherokee. You
I mean,
feel
because
me?
even if you look at somebody like a Rosa Parks or Snoop Dogg, they have very, what you would say, native features.
Native features,
Yeah.
yes.
My
No.
grandmother looks like Rosa Parks. Rest in peace.
Word.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could see those features there. And look, and without getting too deep, I mean, there is a
You
belief
want to go there?
that many Black Americans are actually indigenous to this land, and not as many came over in the transatlantic slave trade as they say did. I
No,
mean, if you think about it economically, like if you're a if you're a slave trader, or let's just say, you want to get people in captivity to work on American land, why not get the people who can actually withstand these conditions that are already here? They already know the land. You don't have to teach them too much. You don't have to worry about losing them in passage. I mean, it is very possible that many of the people that were enslaved were already here. I think that is a very big possibility.
the possibility is there. The rape of this country started with the Native Americans, not with the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but this is what I mean about how to be a Black American is real. It's almost like a mirepoix in the stew, like celery, carrots, and onion. Like it's a lot of things. This is what I mean. So me and my cousin. My cousin has our grandmother's side of the family traced to West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I have our grandfather traced from the Barbados. You get what I'm saying? So we got Barbados and West Africa on my mom's side of the family, kind of like traced out on that side. Now somewhere on my grandfather's side, because he's 1/3 Cherokee and we're from South Carolina and North Carolina, obviously there's been some Indian ties. On my father's side, my grandfather was a Blackfoot Indian. You get what I'm saying? I haven't even got all of that unpacked yet. So to call me like a Black American, it's like, how much of a Black American am I?
Right. Well, okay, let's go to hip hop, right? And so everything the hip hop encompasses sonically, the elements, all those things, right? I don't think there were some Caribbean and Latino people involved, but all of those things scream Black American culture. Because, I mean, even like you said, it being a new thing, let's just say 1900s on, maybe late 1800s, whatever. We got jazz, we got bebop, you know what I'm saying, gospel. And we all know that, Black Americans created rock and roll, all the way to the first rock and roll record being Ike Turner. You know what I'm saying? Rocket 88. But hip hop takes from all of those elements, even if we want to go from the dancing, the b-boying. Because from what I have deduced in research, right, the first b-boy, you guys can look this up, a gentleman named Trixie. Larry Myers, Black American. He said he was the first b-boy. Everybody came from him. You guys can YouTube this, look this up, Google it, whatever. Now, as far as the graffiti art, I think everyone has come to the consensus that it's Cornbread out of Philly. Daryl McCray. Look him up too. He's alive and well. He's still telling his story. Mass Appeal did a great documentary on him. It's like 5 minutes, easy to breeze through. Great story.
It's a good story. I enjoyed it.
And if we want to talk about MCing, I think that, we could go back to Pygmy. We can go back to Pygmy Markle with Here Comes the Judge. We could take it back to James Brown. We could take it back
Here Comes the Judge up in this bitch?
Yeah, I mean, you could take it back to, George Clinton was rapping to an extent. But if we want to say that Coke LaRock was the first MC technically in a hip hop sense, again, another Black American, right? DJing. I know a lot of people want to go to Kool Herc, which is understandable, but a lot of people say that DJ King Mario, another Black American, was the one that put him on. And not to mention Grandmaster Flowers, who was even before that, who actually opened up for James Brown at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and who was the DJ. Another Black American. So, we're talking about all four elements. And I think if we're talking 50-50 shared creation credit, then we would have, two Latino names and two Black American names, and not four Black American names.
No, I get exactly what you were saying. I'm trying to find like the calm middle ground, because it's like, that this is a little bit more funnier and hazier, but I get what you're saying. What you're saying is the perpetuators and the authors of this craft are people who are identified socially and in the class and the caste system as Black Americans.
Exactly. And then even if
And
you
to
want to
say
go
and
to
to,
the
and to call
records,
yourself the creator of it,
yeah.
like instead of the influencer of it. See, I think we're having a creator versus
Well, see,
influencer or
even if we want to
influences and
go,
environmental conversation.
I think
You get
even
what
if
I'm
we want
saying?
to go the influencer route, I don't think anybody influenced sonically what was going on hip hop wise more than James Brown. We just talked about Clyde Stubblefield being the funky drummer. There's nobody in Latino America that we can point to, or not, just Caribbean culture period, that we could point to that is their Clyde Stubblefield. Can we?
No, I mean, you know how I feel about James and Clyde Stubblefield. I feel the same way that you do. They're the real originators of hip hop. What they did, pretty much is what hip hop is based on. From, you know, that your pen game usually comes from what you see, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the hip hop side of things that provides the visual aid. The visual aid used to actually, the main part obviously used to be the tagging and the graffiti. The visual aid became the creative words of the MC. And that's what I'm saying. If you're saying you helped inspire that process, well, we can't take that away, because it's like, well, if you've ever been to the Bronx or seen the Bronx or know people from the Bronx, it's like, well, damn, it's a mosh pit and a melting pot of cultures and of people. And that's what I mean about the inspiration being there. Like where these sentiments are coming from, where the angst is coming from. Mike, part of the angst of New York is all these cultures blended together that don't know each other. Like, it's beautiful, but there's angst and tension that arises because of it.
And these are things that I'm learning recently, and I've been into hip hop all my life, and I've always heard hurt, DJ Cool hurt, but I'm just
Me
now
too.
learning about the
I'm listening.
people who have influenced him. Let me get to these super chats too while you're gone. The raising head with the super chat says Freddie Fox was supposed to be in Gangstar instead of Guru. Better or worse? Whoa, hold on. So Freddie Fox was supposed to be with Eric B, and he was supposed to be in Gangstar? That's crazy. I like Freddie Fox. I think him and Premier make dope music together. Mad Max with the super chat says, being from NY, I don't know what Fat Joe means. LOL. He's talking about Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. He's talking about Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. He's just talking about the black Hispanics in NY, especially the BX. They're right there with us in that. Understandably so, but who are the ones that created any of the elements, or that were instrumental in any of the elements? Because from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are saying that the Latino community was just doing what the black community was doing. Now they participated, yes. Now if you want to say early on the participation got to a larger percentage than 10 or 20 or whatever, fine. But on a creation level, I don't think we have the proper documentation because no one's actually bringing up any names. But when it comes to Black Americans, we're able to bring up names that actually did this and that we can check off.
Right.
I think that is the dichotomy that's going on here. And it's not saying that anybody wasn't there. It's just to say 50-50 on the creation level is a bit overzealous. And you have to understand, we are people, I would say as Black American people, we're starting to become protective of our cultures and the things that we've created because we've had so much stolen from us over time. And music genres, again, rock and roll, we've had everything stolen from us, so we're not going to sit there and just, give credit where it may not be totally due. From a creation standpoint, participation's a whole nother thing. Go ahead.
And so this is what I mean. Like, Fat Joe probably should not have said this, and here's why. Well, he is from the Bronx and has been part of this culture so long that he knows what a tenuous subject matter the African American Black community, no matter where we come from, having stuff stolen from us, what that means. You get what I'm saying? And so some of the audacity to forge the conversation is problematic, which is why I hope his intent was to say that we're more of a cultural and creative influence than a creator. Like, being an influencer and being a creator on the gram are two different things. You feel what I'm saying?
Jay Short saying that Jamaica dance hall did not influence rap. That's a lie. And that is a narrative that's being put out there. Because
Is that
again,
what we're saying now? No,
well,
that's Clyde Stubblefield. That's not true.
again, because Cool Herc
That's
would
not
say
true.
himself that he wasn't
Didn't he
playing no
say that he
Jamaican.
wasn't playing that stuff? Didn't he
Yeah, he
say
said
that?
he wasn't playing that stuff because the people didn't want to hear that stuff. They wanted to hear James Brown, and those breaks from again Clyde Stubblefield, Funky Drummer. What's the record that I'm thinking? Give It Up, Turn It Loose, the live version.
Yeah.
That I think James did at the Apollo. That was the break, the clap your hands, stomp your feet break. You know what I mean? The Jungle Groove. And those are the records. I mean, we could point to those records, and without
You
those
can literally,
records, and I've said this before, without James Brown, I don't know what hip hop sounds like.
Mike, Lyrics of Fury is literally rapping to the loop to the funky drummer.
Straight up. Oh, and
Straight up.
so is Fight the Power.
Straight up.
Yeah. Mad Max with the super chat says, and it's facts that Caribbean areas did help make it, especially Jamaicans and Latinos are there. So it's like 25% Latinos and you have others. But again, helped make who? Who helped make it? Who are the creators you're talking about? Because
Okay, so this is what I mean. It's like being in the studio. Okay. Matter of fact, I learned this from Denham's older brother, who's from the Bronx. I used to record in his younger brother's studio when I was doing my second project, which is where I got most of my buzz. He came in one day and I was recording by myself. He was like, "Yo, Coop, you be recording by yourself all the time?" I was like, "Yeah, sometimes." I was like, "When I'm over here." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "You got to have your niggas around you." He's like, "You got to have that environment." This is a cat from the Bronx whose family from the Virgin Islands that you know who he done ran with, that's sitting up here telling me to my face like, "No, you need people around you to get that vibe, that influence." That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Fat Joe's speaking to the same thing that Watt's speaking to. Then yeah, I get what he's saying. He's talking about creating, no. That's what I mean. He's talking about that sphere of that influence. When Watt pulled up that day, he didn't like the fact that I was in the booth by myself. He's like, "I don't like that."
No,
He's
I like that you said
like,
that.
you need
Now,
the energy.
now
You
if
need
we
that
want,
flow.
you know,
You need that
I like
environment.
that you said that though. If you're
That's how the
talking
Chronic got
about,
made. That's how the Purple Tape got made.
I was gonna say, if you're talking about the spirit, it's like they
Yes.
always say Jerobi is the spirit of tribe. You know what I'm saying? But we know when it comes to the creating part of it, you need Q-tips. Q-tips. You
No,
need Q-tip. You know what I'm saying?
no. You
But
need that, but that's what I'm saying is that. But look at where Q-Tip is from. Look at all the spheres of influence that probably sparked that.
straight up.
He could have. Think about it. He could have been on some rap shit coming from like the part of Queens that he's coming from. Like he coming from that real Supreme Team side of Queens. So he's probably seeing things on a hip hop and on a street level, like up close and personal. But he might have went to Harlem one day and went to a cafe and like started getting into the jazz, and we got the low end theory. You feel what I'm saying?
Well,
So
his
it's
dad
like
collected jazz.
but the environment is there to provide that. So if you're telling me that the Latino community helped provide some of the environment, it's like, oh, without the motherfucking question.
Well, his dad collected jazz. I think his mother was from the South or something, but I think a lot of his record collecting comes from his father, who passed away, at an early age for Tip.
I'm just,
but yeah.
I'm just giving examples of like what
No,
could
you're
be.
right.
I don't know the story exactly. I'm saying the environment is set up for him to have that melting pot of cultural experiences of going on some boom bap kick to some jazz. No, New York is like that. It's flexible like that. It's part of what makes it the mecca of hip hop is that flexibility and all of those cultures blending together. But yeah, people of color who are called Black created it.
Yeah, and it was created from a lot of the elements that Black Americans had already put together, from even the influence of b-boying that traces back to like the 30s, 40s, and even in recent time for them, James Brown, right? I think it was Crazy Legs that said their whole thing with b-boying was to emulate what James Brown was doing. So boom, that's there. Obviously, what Cornbread did with graffiti, that's kind of like standalone. That's what it is. But even when you look to the music and what the DJs were doing with the loops and breaks, this is a funk beats, funk breaks, James Brown records. Without those records, do we have the park jams? So we can't forget the records that they pulled them from. And I say this respectfully, it would be a whole different thing if they were pulling from dance hall records and records from the Caribbean that started this. That would be a whole different thing. It'd be a whole different discussion, but that's not the reality.
Right.
In the U Jam says even Madlib has the native features. Black people were moving and hanging in gangs back then. There's no way Puerto Ricans and Latinos could have been in the same parties as Black Americans. Well, gang culture is a whole different thing. You might be right. I've heard those
Mm-hmm.
stories too. Jay Short with the super chat says, Mike and Coop, if 10 years from now I said I helped create A2HH, you would come pay me a visit. We need to stop this. This is true. You know, it's like, and
That's
we
funny.
love and respect everybody in here, and we
No,
think
that's
that,
funny.
and we're going to get to this even when we talk about the Black Star thing. I think that the people and the fans and the subscribers and viewers make our show as powerful as it is, but, you know, respectfully, we created this show. You know what I'm saying? And, you know,
No,
and
no,
it's,
no. I love the people,
yeah, I
but I
love the
feel you.
people. The participation is everything. We base our show around the participation. But I don't think that, I mean, look, I go view Star's show all the time, the Star Report. Shout out to him. He did a great show on this the other day. But I would never go to Star and be like, yo, I helped create your show. You know, it's just because I was a viewer and a participant. It's different. Jay Short also says the hip hop 50th anniversary is coming up in the next year. Folks are trying to position themselves to profit off of it. Fat Joe needs to find Pun's rhyme book. Oh, yeah, hip hop will be 50 next year. It's gonna be a big blowout. We got to do something for it. Mad Max says, so then Black Americans can't claim Biggie and KRS-One then, because when you look at it, these guys' origins are not Black American, like Coop said. That's fine. I think no one ever said anything about the fact that Biggie does do things that tap into his Caribbean roots. Or KRS. I think KRS is one of the people that actually bring that to record. But we will say this, Mad Max, and just like, you know, with Busta Rhymes saying that, you know, Black Americans or Americans don't have a culture yet. If it weren't for the culture that was started by the Black Americans, you wouldn't have a vehicle to be Biggie, KRS-One, or Busta Rhymes. Is that fair?
No, that's fair, but this is. I mean, I hate to say it like this and just be so flat out. Like we all been sleeping with each other and mixing and crossbreeding for a long time. I don't like having this conversation because it's divisive. In hip hop,
I don't
is
think it's
supposed to bring.
divisive.
No, listen. Hip hop is supposed to bring us together.
Yeah.
And I don't like somebody who's a statesman like Fat Joe making a divisive comment like this. That's my real issue. It's
Yeah,
divisive.
it
and I
doesn't
don't
have
like
to
it.
be divisive if everybody just gives people credit where credit's due. You know what I'm saying? It's only divisive if you don't want to be honest about it. The creators are there, the names are there.
That's what I mean. If you want
Yeah,
to talk about influence and sphere of influence, totally fine. If you want to talk about the creators, like the names are already there and it was
yeah,
written. You know what I mean?
yeah. You
Like
know,
unless you're going to dispute, like you said, Mike, unless you're going to literally, well, give me the 100% Latino for cornbread. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like who? Give me somebody that was literally right there with cornbread.
In
Who was
1965, doing graffiti in
1965?
Philly in 1965.
Correct.
We
And so
and
that's why I
again,
don't like it.
I
That's
see
what I
this.
mean. It's too divisive. And here's the thing about it. Like, and Joe knows this. Is like, well, don't you understand? Saying that takes away from somebody like a cornbread.
Exactly. You know what? It seems to be, and I see people in the chat saying something similar. It seems to
I know.
only,
Hold on. I already know about Rocksteady Crew. Mike Honey runs her dance academy up here on my side of town. My daughter was part of Honey's
but
hip hop dance
Rocksteady
academy.
Crew
The
came a
real
little.
Honey from the Rocksteady Crew lives about 20 minutes north of here. I've known her for years. My daughter was in her dance academy.
Again, the
Rocksteady Crew is
Rocksteady
like
Crew,
literally like a decade after.
I was about to say, Rocksteady Crew started around 77. They came a little later, respectfully. It is what it
Respectfully.
is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so if you're starting off with Rocksteady Crew as your Latino creators, well
They're
then
about
Mike's
7 years late.
ethos is like even more, but Mike, a minimum of 7.
Yeah, minimum of 7. Yeah.
Minimum of 7. We got cornbread tagging in 65 in Philly.
And we got Trixie doing shit in like 68 as the first
That's
B-boy. And
that's
you
hip
got
hop.
Rocksteady Crew coming around in 77. Now, again, I know a lot of people get their history from like film and, you know, things like that, Wild Style and all that. And those are great culture pieces. But sometimes you got to dig a little deeper, you know?
Oh yeah.
And it's out there. And again, I want to address the whole divisive thing. It's not a divisive thing, you know. It's just making sure that we document history properly. It just seems to be
No, it is
whenever
divisive
black people want to
because it's
get their
something that we
credit,
really shouldn't like.
whenever
We got
black
bigger
people
fish
want to
to
get
fry.
their credit for something, it seems to be that we're being divisive whenever we want to acknowledge something that we've done. We're not taking credit for dance hall. We're not taking credit for, anything Daddy Yankee's able to do in America. We're not.
Mike, I can't find out where the fuck I came from. That's why I'm saying it's like I don't even want to have this conversation right now. It looks like my grandmother's side of the family is from West Africa on my mom's side. Looks like on my grandfather's side, on my mom's side, they came from the Barbados. On my dad's side, on my grandfather's side, I got us Blackfoot Indian. I got some Cherokee over here mixed in. I know nothing about my grandmother's side on my father's side. I don't know where the fuck I'm coming from or how long I've been here.
Have you
I'm
been to
just
family
figuring it out.
reunions?
And I'm 40.
Have you been
So
to family
all this-
reunions?
Huh?
Have you been to family reunions?
Oh no.
Because I know I've been to family reunions on my mother's
Gangster.
side and my mother's father's side. I haven't had any
Mhm.
family reunions on my dad's side. But yeah,
I mean,
they all
I've
go
been-
back. They all go back to pretty much slavery,
My dad's family is from Youngstown. Okay, like Youngstown, the type of place that when my grandmother was here on this earth, she really didn't want us coming to because, it's Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People don't go to Youngstown; they get the fuck out of Youngstown.
Yeah.
Like my dad did. So a lot of that is like big gaps, and like the Coopers, like my mom's side, like I got a lot of the tribe figured out and stuff. It's like even the Coop. I don't even want to get into that. It's like they be having stuff up in Charlotte. No, I don't be going.
I mean, it's good to know, and it's like I want to do even more research. I'm glad my mom's really into that, and she brought over like this family reunion packet from, I want to say it might have been like 2010 or 2005, and I was able to actually go back and see my grandmother's parents. I think my grandmother's parents were slaves.
Now here's the thing: my pop's oral history game is the strongest oral game. Like people be like, "Yo, Coop, your memory." It's like, no, I get that from my pops. Like, so his oral game history. So I know the tribe and how the tribe worked from everything that he remember and been told. But that's only taking me back to like Great Depression times. And I hold it the way he hold it. So when he tell me, I just like lock it in. So it's like I know my dad's side of the family, but it's like I know us as freed men. I don't know if we were here first. You know what I'm saying? Because Ohio's different. That's what I'm saying. My grandfather, Blackfoot Indian. It's like when your family comes from that part of the nation, there's a chance that you're more indigenous and have been here. Chances are, if you were from the South, you got planted here.
Yeah.
But if you're from over there, there's a chance that you were already here. And so what it looks like to me is I believe is that part of my family on my mom's side is from Africa and from Barbados and met in South Carolina. And that's how the Coopers exist. But my dad's side, I think we were probably here because my grandfather is an Indian.
You know
He's
what?
like my grandfather is a high, like my oldest brother is like high yellow, light skin with green eyes.
You know what?
Yeah, and he talk like Mike Tyson. It's the funniest shit ever. He's 6'5", like 300 pounds, and he's high yellow with fucking green eyes, and it sounds like Mike Tyson when he talks, but like he'll bust your ass.
Mad Max to the super chat says, Mike, it says, I don't want to say ADT. Other groups say this about their genres of music. I never heard a Latino or Jamaican say we help make blues or R&B. Hip-hop is a little different, especially if we're talking about NY hip-hop. Well, again, name the creators then. I gave you the names. Is there anybody with a Grandmaster in their title before Grandmaster Flowers? Is there a DJ out there who had 2 turntables and a mic before Grandmaster Flowers who were doing park jams in New York or anywhere else? The man opened up for James Brown in Yankee Stadium in 65 or 60? I think it was 65. So he was kind of a big deal. So give me some names, debunk some of these names, and I'll be with you. And on top of that,
we're asking for evidence.
Yeah, I'm just asking for evidence. We only ask for evidence on the show about everything. Let's not make this a different thing. But yeah, I mean,
hold on. Kaya is saying my great grandmother was a Syrian who was born in Jamaica. That don't make me Syrian. It's like, no, it doesn't make you Syrian, but it means you have Syrian heritage and lineage. But I'm talking about my grandfather being 100% Blackfoot Indian. Well, that's only 2 generations removed from me.
Right.
That ain't great. That's my grandfather being 100% Indian. That would give credence to us probably of being here. You feel what I'm saying?
You know what? I want to find out.
It's not like I'm saying 4 generations ago my grandfather was 100% Indian. Well, that's damn near slavery. I'm saying literally like in the 1900s he was 100% Indian. That means we might have been here.
I see a comment from Marcus Lewis, NBA. He says only 3.6% of African slaves came to the U.S. Fact, we already were here, 100. I've heard that before. And you know what? We've been lied to so much. If there's some evidence to that, I'm with it.
I think we've been everywhere though, Mike. We're original man. So it's like, how can original man not be and spread everywhere? It's just been indigenously spread out in different and propagated in different forms. That's what I mean when I say, well, we all been sleeping together for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's not have this divisive conversation because that's what it becomes.
But again, no one's trying to take credit from anybody. We're just saying creating and participating are 2 different things. And
DJ
I think that
all day is on fire today. The Olmecs, Mike, they're literally like little Asian, black-looking people. They look Filipino.
Yeah.
Literally in Central America, looking Filipino.
Yeah.
Like literally like 4,000-5,000 miles away from like
But I think 50-50 is a big
Hannibal,
generous.
Mike. Hannibal. You want to get old school Hannibal? That's a black man.
Right.
You know why they're afraid of Hannibal? Right. You think they afraid of some damn elephants? Elephants don't hurt nobody, Mike. They ain't afraid of no damn elephants. They afraid of this nigga that don't mind marching through the motherfucking snow in elephants to come kill them. Right. They're like, this black man is crazy. This nigga's crazy. Like
somebody said Grandmaster Jose Hernandez. Y'all wild. NDU Jam says, Herc stated, hold on. He said Herc stated that he would observe the kids dancing when the break part would come on the record. And that's when he decided to make it longer. Black Americans already knew about the break beats. He observed that and, furthered that on because he knew that's what the people wanted. Us entertainers, and I guess I'm calling us entertainers as well, we tap into what the people want and we hone in on it. That's what Herc did at his party.
Hold on, Mike. Mike, this is what I mean. We've been everywhere. Mike, Attila the Hun. The Huns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think they scared of Attila the Hun and of Hannibal? It's not because it's because they didn't look like them. It's because they were black and they was out here like, no, that's our shit. And if it ain't our shit, we come to take your shit because we original man. Right. This been going on.
Yeah.
So it's like to have the American conversation about it to me is divisive because you got to start unpacking all parts of history where black men have been called different things even though that they were black. Like, you don't know Attila the Hun is black. You don't know Hannibal is black. They try to feed it to you like it's different. They're European from different regions. No, where that nigga from? I keep trying to tell you. Peter from where? Peter was a fisherman in Syria. I don't know about you, Mike. When you get into the water all day in Syria, you know what happens to you? Darkness, motherfucker. Ain't no... What?
Mad Max says 50-50 was an exaggeration. Yes, it wasn't. And when you exaggerate about those things, you're kind of stepping on the actual work and the creation that the creators made. And I don't think that that's appreciated. I would hope the Fat Joe goes out there and recants what he said. I would hope that Busta Rhymes even recants what he said about Black Americans not having a culture because, again, the culture that Black Americans created is the culture that you were able to make your name on. And not to mention that
a dance hall reggae artist, even though he claims to be Jamaican. It's like, well, you're an American hip hop artist.
Yeah, your breaking point was on the Low End Theory, which was an album that was influenced by jazz. Who made that? Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Cut that out.
Now,
and I love Busta Rhymes, man, but I don't appreciate that. We don't need to break down
who created jazz, do we? Do we need to break down who created jazz?
I hope we don't.
Okay, I just hope we don't.
I hope we don't.
Hold on. First of all, Gray 88, Hannibal was black. And the Olmecs are, I don't care what you say. I ain't never seen no Asian people be thick like that, except for the Filipinos, who mixed with the Spanish Indians, mixed with the black people. That's why I keep trying to say we've been everywhere. We've been everywhere.
Speaking of black, you want to talk about Black Star?
Man, you know what happens to you? Your seed gets spread and dispersed.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of black, you want to talk about this Black Star interview
Might as
on
well.
Drink Champs?
We got real
Fine, fine.
black up in here.
We got another super chat from what is it? Mintu Sun says most, not all, so-called Latinos are black in term used to group people based on who colonized them. Don't fall for the okie doke. Joe fell for it. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Fat Joe is from the barbershop legend era. We demand receipts and a resume now. We don't believe you just because you old. It's a facts, you know. And he's old enough to give us some names, right? From the Bronx, New York, shit happens. A shout out to my man Mark, man. I talked to Mark today. I wasn't gonna even have this discussion if I
No, go
didn't
ahead.
talk to
Have the
somebody
discussion.
who was actually there. I mean, he grew up in the building and he wasn't really aware of, all the things that are going on with this Fat Joe thing. But when I told him, he was like, what? That's ridiculous. So it ain't just Mike D from Atlanta, Georgia, that's saying this stuff. The people who are up top, who lived it and were in the building, are saying similar things.